Sway in the morning, Shade 45. This is not his first time here at the rodeo. We have a great time every single time our citizen of Sway in the morning comes in. I'll read off some of the accolades here. 3-time Primetime Emmy winner, 2-time Golden Globe winner, and Academy Award nominated actor, writer, film director, and my favorite part, chef. The one and only Stanley Tucci is here. Citizens of Sway in the morning. Woohoo! Hi, Stanley.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. Excited that you're here. Obviously, we're going to talk about A Private War. That's in theaters this Friday, the 16th. And we're going to get into that with you in just a minute. But obviously with the holidays coming up, and I remember the last time you were here, we talked about your book. And I showed you the big pot of mussels that I made, followed your recipe to the T, and I made a family-style pot of mussels that came out so beautiful. They were so good, and I didn't think it would cover everybody because there's a lot of us in my family, and we love family style of food. It was so good, and I love your book because it's just high-end, refined cooking. I mean, I'm not embarrassed to say, like, some things you have to spend the money for.
Of course,
like you just do. You're not gonna,
Your mussels, mussels, they can be expensive, but they can also, sometimes you can get them for a pretty good price.
I was going to say. And they also are very impressive, even though budget friendly.
They are. More than like a clam will cost. It's funny, isn't it? The clams are more money, but mussels are more plentiful, so they're easier for them to harvest.
And a better presentation too.
And
so beautiful,
they
really,
are.
when they're I know.
So with all that talk about food, we were wondering, what is your Thanksgiving and holidays going to look like, your table, and are you in charge of the cooking?
My wife and I do it together.
Okay.
Right? So we do. Now I live in London, so they don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but we celebrate Thanksgiving. So my in-laws are so happy. They're like 2 miles away from us, so they're so thrilled, these British people, that you have this other holiday right before Christmas. They're like, come on, this is great.
Yeah.
So we do a big turkey. My father-in-law loves turkey. So we do a big turkey. We do sweet potatoes, and then we'll do mashed potatoes. My wife makes the most incredible mashed potatoes with, you really mash them up. You use olive oil, and then you use an egg in it, and it makes it so sort of creamy and delicious. Like, you cannot believe how delicious they are.
Wow.
That sounds good.
Really good. And then they do a thing called bread pudding, which I think is actually kind of gross, but they like it. And it's like bread with milk and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then we do a gravy, and we just do all that stuff, and it's great. And lots of wine.
And lots of wine.
Yeah.
How long have you been living in London?
5 years.
Do you love it?
I love it.
Wow.
I love it. I couldn't, it's weird. It's like the place I was supposed to live, but I didn't know it. I was there. I was like, oh, this is great.
Is your wife from the UK or?
Yeah, she's from the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest difference, like with London? Is it the I don't know? They say weather rainy all the time. What's the biggest difference for you?
Well, now with global warming, it doesn't rain all the time. So the summer was like really hot. The autumn has been beautiful.
Beautiful.
And just when I left the other day, it was really starting to become England again, where you sort of wake up and it's dark and rainy and then it gets dark by 4 in the afternoon. It's dark,
Wow.
Yeah.
DB?
I'm just curious because I can barely cook scrambled eggs, but you filmed this movie, A Private War, around Jordan and London, correct?
Yeah, we shot it in I didn't go to Jordan. They went to Jordan, but I was in London.
So that must have been nice for you to actually be there instead of like traveling from the U.S. to London and back and forth.
It was wonderful. I was like 20 minutes from my house. It was fantastic.
I'm going home, y'all.
See you later.
Yeah, cool. So Marie Colvin, which is actually this film is based on a real person. A lot of people don't know, but when you see the trailer of this reporter, journalist with an eye patch, and then she's going out and just like putting herself in all these dangerous situations. Yeah. But then you hear about the journalist who was just recently murdered, and so it's almost like this isn't just a one case thing. This is happening not only with the journalist recently who was decapitated, right? I believe.
Well, that was There've been a few of those, and then recently we know what happened in Turkey.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, listen, there's certainly, without question, now there's a lots of aggression towards the press in a lot of countries, including our country. And it's really unfortunate and it's really scary because what makes a great democracy is freedom of the press. And Marie Colvin, she was extraordinary. And what happened was she was in Syria. She was broadcasting this what was happening there, and nobody had ever really done that before. But what happened was once she was able to make that connection via the cyberly with CNN, she became a target, and they found out exactly where she were, and they bombed them and killed them.
Because Syria tried to deny and said it was a terrorist bombing, but there was a person who survived the attack that was with them and said that it was artillery fire while they were bunked out and collecting all the things. Yeah. So how do you navigate between like a government such as Syria or a foreign government just in general versus what they say because you're on their territory? Versus like, we know what happened. I was there. I survived, and I know that this wasn't like some terrorist bombing or an IED or something like that. I mean, is it still sticky in those circumstances?
I think so. They never actually say, yes, this is what we did. I mean, why would they say this is what we did?
Right. They're not going to own up to it.
It's a horribly corrupt and murderous regime. They don't care, And it's up to us, and it's up to other democracies and the UN to put a stop to it as best you can.
Yeah.
Stanley, you mentioned democracy in the UN. Mike Muse does our political news here, Sway in the Morning. Shade 45. He has a question for you as well.
Yo, Stanley, I just mentioned how much I'm a fan of yours, Thank you. It's good to have you here. What I have a question about is, when did this film actually get greenlit? Because we have seen, once 2016 came along, we've seen this attack on the media, attack on our free press, and this now unfortunate tagline of fake news is permeating out there. Even recently with Jim Acosta, you mentioned CNN, a CNN reporter who has been privileges of the White House, press privileges have been removed, to now CNN is actually going to the Supreme Court to file a lawsuit to actually get his privileges reinstated back in there. Yeah. Did you guys, if it was greenlit before 2016, after 2016, how have you handled the script? Did you add anything? Did you take anything away? Were you guys sensitive to the nature of the climate that's happening right now?
I'm not. I can't, it's hard for me to answer that question because I sort of came in at the last minute for the film. I'm only in the film very briefly. And Matthew, who's the director of the film, he's a documentarian and a great documentarian. Sort of asked me to do it sort of last minute. So they had already shot all of the Jordan stuff and everything. So I don't know. I think that the script had been around for a while. And I think it took them, like any independent movie, it takes a long time to get it made. So I would assume that this was around prior to 2016. I would think so, yeah.
Stanley Tucci is here. Citizens, 888-742-3345. You want to call him up, compliment him on any of the movies you've seen him in, his work, or ask him questions about food. I'm telling you, he's a great chef. Get you ready for the holidays. Sway in the Morning, Shade 45.
Going to land.
That is the voice. It was the voice of Marie Colvin. That was the last broadcast with Anderson Cooper before her death. And the reason why we're playing that clip is because A Private War, this film will be out on Friday, starring our guest, one of the stars of the film, Stanley Tucci, is here hanging out with us and just sort of breaking down everything going on at this film and just having conversations with us off air as well, just about things what's going on politically. You live in London now. I was wondering, so you still vote here?
Yeah, I vote here.
You still vote here, wow, and just watching from abroad as well. Living overseas now in London, do you get to hear a conversation about how people view the U.S. now? Is it that much different?
Unfortunately, yes, I do. And people are, very upset.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very upset about the rhetoric here. They're very upset about the disorganization in the administration. They're very upset with the aggressiveness towards the media, and the fact that we're becoming isolationist again, and we have this sort of this very bellicose tone that we take with every country, it seems, including practically Canada. And you think, how do you make an enemy of Canada? That's pretty hard to do, and yet they seem determined to make enemies of everyone, and it just doesn't. It really makes it's very hard to you feel uncomfortable being an American sometimes.
That's wild.
Which is really sad because it's an extraordinary country and there are so many people here who don't feel this way.
I don't feel that way.
What do you think that America could learn from the UK? Like, if we could start from scratch and receive like constructive criticism and templates from other areas, from the UK specifically, what do you think that we could learn?
Well, I think there are a number of things. I think the thing about the UK is they've dealt with a lot of issues that, you know, we're a teenage country.
Right, very young, yes.
So we're acting like teenagers in a way. Do you know what I mean? Everything is so extreme. It's
That's
like,
true.
no, I want this. No, it has to be my way. No, it has to be this way. And the British, I suppose, are doing that to a certain extent with Brexit, yes, which is disastrous and would be disastrous if it happens, and everybody knows that. But I think that there are certain issues in England that have been dealt with. Weapons, right? The right to bear arms. Abortion and religion. These are they're not even discussed anymore in England. There's no discussion about them. It's just, they were dealt with many, 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 many years ago.
What's the stance on each, real quick?
The stance is abortion is legal, okay? And it will be paid for by the NHS if you need to get an abortion.
Gotcha.
It doesn't encourage people to have abortions willy-nilly. It's not like that. It doesn't happen like that. You cannot carry a firearm. You just can't. That's all there is to it. You can have a firearm for hunting or something like that, but it's it's incredibly strict. And when it comes to religion, it's not a part of politics. It's just not a part of it.
Separate.
And it's completely separate, which is what our country is supposed to be, which is the separation of church and state. However, it doesn't seem to be happening that way. So those three issues, which are the hot button issues in America, are not even a part of British political conversation or social conversation anymore. I think also the NHS, which is the National Health Service, which was started right after World War II, is, you know, what Obama tried to do is as close to that as we could probably ever get in this country. And it's an amazing thing. I have to say, it's an amazing thing. Does it work perfectly? No, it doesn't. Are there long waiting times? Yes, there are for certain things, but not for everything. And it is your right as a citizen to be taken care of by the NHS, and rightly so, on every level, no matter what your age, no matter what your gender, no matter what you have a pre-existing condition. None of it. It's not even a question. You walk into a clinic, you have a cold, you have a whatever, you walk in, they give you the stuff, you walk out, you don't pay any money because it comes out of your taxes.
Right.
And I've talked to very conservative people, and I've talked to real liberals, and they all go, oh, the NHS will never go away. And nor should it go away.
Stanley Tucci is here breaking it down for us. 888-742-3345. If you want to shout him out, say hello, let him know you're a fan of his work, or ask him questions about food. I'm telling y'all, he's the man in that kitchen. We got Ray on the line from North Carolina. Ray, what part of North Carolina are you calling from?
What up, Ray?
Hey.
Hey, what's going on? I'm calling from Fayetteville.
Fayetteville, North Carolina. What's up? Stanley's here. Say what's up to him.
What's up? What's going on?
How you doing?
I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm chilling. I'm good. I just want to say, you know, it's really important that we're putting out movies that get people to thinking more about what's going on in the world today and how we can learn from our past. So I just like when entertainers do that. I like the conversation you're having. I like being able to have that conversation and letting people know that it's just like going back to whether it's an athlete, entertainer, there's more that you can offer to us. To be able to understand what's going on in the world. I like the way we're moving in that direction.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. Yeah, I think that movies like this are, you know, there are movies we do for entertainment that they're really fun, and we know we'd love to do them, and people love to see them and everything. But then there are movies that are like really necessary movies, and this is a necessary movie.
He's talking about A Private War. Make sure you go check it out, Ray, this Friday, November 16th. Make sure you check it out. You a citizen of Sway in the morning. I got somebody else on the line as well. Hold on. Oh, his call is coming through. Sway, did I mess this up just now? Sorry, DJ Wonder. Okay. Stanley, I'm trying to work the phones over here.
Okay,
hold on.
I can't work a phone.
You can't work it? All right. We got David on the line. David is on the line from Knoxville. Good morning, David. How you doing?
What up, David?
David? Andrew. Hey, David. How you doing?
Doing well, doing well. First of all, I just wanted to say, Stanley, I know I'm a guy, but Devil Wears Prada, one of my favorite movies. Love you in it. Watch it all the time.
Thank you very much.
And second of all, my wife's putting a lot of pressure on me for Thanksgiving, and usually I'm just a turkey cutting guy and cooking the turkey, but I got to come up with a good wowing side dish. And other than those mashed potatoes, what would you do to just, like, flip the script?
Well, I mean, the thing is, because I'm Italian, we have a tendency to overindulge, and so we do. There's always pasta before the turkey, which there really shouldn't be, but some kind of pasta is always good. But what's good on the side is, I don't know if you like Brussels sprouts. Some people hate them.
I love
Brussels sprouts.
Do you love them?
Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah.
Do you like them?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
all
sir,
right.
I do.
So this is what I would do. I would do Brussels sprouts with a little bit of onion, saute the onion down, and then in pancetta. So,
Okay.
or you can use bacon or whatever, but pancetta is kind of nicer. It's a little less, present or something. And so you do that, and then put the Brussels sprouts in and let them cook slowly in a pan, and then add a little bit of, white wine or something at the end.
Wow.
And that's
Oh,
it.
man.
And it's really delicious. You get that fat from the pancetta,
Yeah.
and then you get the
Right.
Brussels sprouts and maybe a little butter even. Yeah.
I never thought about putting wine and
Starving.
sauteed Brussels sprouts. I never thought about
Yeah, it's good. You can do a little bit, just
I
to
might
give it a
try
little
that.
moisture. Yeah.
I'm gonna try
David,
that.
how that sounded? Sounding like after Thanksgiving you have a lucky night, huh?
I'm telling you, thank you so much. You all
My
have a blessed
pleasure.
day.
You too, man. You're a citizen of Sway in the morning. Thank you so much, Stanley, for coming through. Stanley got David lucky.
Yes.
And then Thanksgiving gonna be good. We're gonna be rubbing those Brussels sprouts all up on his lady. He got, you know what I'm saying? With the wine. Don't forget about the
Who
wine.
knew that Brussels sprouts could be so sexy?
Because you don't think about it. To Mike's point, I would have never thought. I do mine with cheese and balsamic, and
Ooh,
just
that's
bake
nice.
them and
Yeah.
and do fried Brussels sprouts on top and fried garlic just for presentation. And it's nice. But I ain't add the wine to it yet.
I'm gonna do the wine for this holiday.
Yeah, you got to do the wine for this holiday, Mike Muse. Get yourself some. Make sure you do it. Let them know Stanley Tucci told you to do it. All right, Private War this Friday. Make sure you go check it out. We got Ice-T coming up here. Sway in the morning, Shade 4-5.